Alright, how you doing everybody? Dave Howard here from Adirondack Bowhunters. Just checking in with some good news here, doing another update for you guys. I find myself back behind the wheel of the Hoyt this year. I'm going to be as straightforward and honest in this review as I can possibly be, because I think it's important. You know, people are spending a lot of money on their equipment these days, and I think people got to know everything they're getting into. So in the past I may have been a little bit too nice in some areas and things like that, but you know, for the most part everybody's making such a fantastic product these days. It's really hard to find a lot of faults in things, and that's just being honest. You know, a lot of these companies are really doing a great job in what they do. So with no further ado, this will probably be one of the first reviews that you guys will actually see on the 2015 Hoyt Carbon Spyder Turbo. Couple things about this bow and why I ended up with it this year. First of all, I'm going to get the one negative out of the way right now, and I'm going to be honest with you. And this is something that I was honest with before when I did my very first review on my Hoyt Spyder Turbo. And the finish from Hoyt. You know, this bow retail, being the Spyder with the cams and the turbo with the special cams and all that, extremely expensive bow. You know, top of the line, flagship, extremely expensive. And I am disappointed again with the finish. I was putting my my sidebar on, barely scuffed the finish with the metal piece for the sidebar. Put 2 nicks in the finish. Putting the quiver mount on last night, again, barely touched it with the bottom edge. Put a nick in the finish. I mean, Hoyt's got to come up with a more rugged, more durable finish. And I'll tell you what, if they do that, they're a 10 out of 10 out of 10 all day long when that happens. I mean, you know, right now I'd have to give this bow a 9.9, and the only reason I do is because I am not happy with the finish again this year. But with that being said, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get down to the honest facts about things. Air shock technology, again by Hoyt. Air shock technology works 100%. Carries no weight on the limbs, allows the limbs to move freely. Limbs come back, bam, up against the air shocks, deadens vibration, deadens noise, deadens a shot. Fantastic. Works great. Shock rods built into the riser. Again, something new. 2014, 2015 started coming out with this in combination, and they work fantastic. Dead in the hand, quiet as can be. Again, just works great. Engineering, great. String stop on this bow. Again, also classic Hoyt. Just, you know, been like this for a couple of years now. They've been using this style. Carbon fiber rod, fantastic. Works great. Couldn't say enough. Silent shelf, arrow shelf by Hoyt. Kind of hard to see, but silent shelf, arrow shelf here. If you have a fall away rest, drop away rest, really does a good job in just absolutely deadening the noise. Again, nothing helps to make the bow quiet. Quietest bow I've ever put in my hands. Quietest bow I ever shot, hands down. You know, another nice thing too is if you happen to be in a down position or when you're loading your arrow, doesn't bounce around, doesn't nick the riser, and keeps everything nice and quiet as well. So again, just fantastic technology, good engineering, works 100%. The riser on this bow, obviously the carbon, and the way that they have it all done with different thickness in different areas, different bridge support in different areas, it's gnarly looking. I don't know if I'm in love with it. I don't know if it's kind of ugly. All I know is that technically it seems to work 100%, and at the end of the day, yeah, it is pretty cool, right? I mean, it's pretty cool. The material, the sound deadening aspect, and I took this out this morning. It was frigid, wind whistling, just miserable morning out, and again, you know, I get down out of the stand this morning. I'd been sitting outside for about 3 hours, grabbed the bow, started walking around the fields, and I actually did at one point stop and notice that it feels fantastic. I don't feel that coldness. I'm not like having to, you know, change hands, and you know what I mean? You don't get that feeling that you get with that metal, with that aluminum in your hands. So, you know, again, a fantastic piece of technology, just having to do with the material that Hoyt uses. Great. New for this year is the Zero Torque, and you'll see some pictures of that I took earlier, but is that Zero Torque cable roller guard. Fantastic. It comes in from the opposite end that other bows do, okay? Most bows are out here at this point. It pivots. They still pivot out. There's still some pressure, and when they come back, you'll notice that there's some violence in the let off on most of them, right? When you let off, when you release that arrow. Hoyt's actually pulls from the inside out and puts pressure on the opposite side of the cable. So when you release that arrow down range, everything falls in line. As the cables come back, you don't get this kind of motion or any of that tweak or any of that torque. Really fantastic piece of engineering. So simple, but so effective. Works great. The little sound deadening things and stuff on here, again, those little shock rods, fantastic. You don't hear a thing. Turbo cam and a half. Didn't know how I was going to feel about it. Didn't know how they were going to tune. A little bit larger, a little bit different from what we've seen in the past. I got to tell you, tuned the bow last night. Unbelievable. I first of all, right out of the box, I got to give it. I got to say this right out of the box. Draw length 29.5 inches on a board. Hit 29.5 inches on the mark, on the money. Boom, right out of the box, right off the bat. No tuning, no tweaking necessary, just right there. Poundage. I'm shooting 65 pounds. I figure I'm shooting the turbo, super fast, IBO rating, all that stuff. Figure I'm shooting the turbo. 65 pounds was available. I loved the draw. I loved the hold. And the speeds I was getting, which I'll tell you about in a minute, were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So, bam, 65 pounds, works great, love it. Tuning, out of the box, pegboard, 29.5 inches, right on the money. Weight, 65 pounds, right on the money. Not a half pound under, not a half pound over, right on the money, square, 65. Shot it through a chronograph, okay? Through the chrono to help set up my sight tape, you know, you have to have very precise readings, measurement, lengths, arrow, all that stuff. You guys that are familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about. So as I'm shooting last night, I put 4 arrows through, 292 feet a second with a 476 grain arrow. That's right, 29.5 inches, 65 pounds, 476 grain arrow, 292 feet a second. Now, I put the first arrow down, 292. Put the second arrow down, absolute repeat. Put the third arrow down, duplicate again. Put the fourth arrow down, duplicate again. So, out of the box, 29.5, right on the money. 65 pounds, right on the money. 476 grain arrow, 292 feet a second, right on the money 4 times in a row. I found that to be amazingly impressive, that it was that repeatable and that dead on right out of the box. So I gotta give it to Hoyt. I have not pulled a bow out of the box and seen it be that professionally done, that well set up right out of the box. Now, again, fit and finish, it's about the only negative I can find. Limb pockets, you know, tried and true with Hoyt. They've had these zero tolerance limb pockets for a while now. They've been using them. I've had them on other bows. They work fantastic. I've had no complaints. Very similar, if not exact, to what they're using on most of their competition bows. And we all know how many people are shooting Hoyt competition bows indoor in 3D. So very popular, extremely popular. stops, draw stops. Again, great mod, great feel to the mod, very smooth. Good back wall, a little bit more let off than I would like. Some other folks are probably going to be like, you're crazy, we love the let off. What if you have to hold for a long time? I get it, I understand, most people like that. I would actually prefer a little bit less let off, and I'm going to see if I can tune that a little bit out of this bow. I might even be able to pick up a little more speed, a couple more feet per second. Tune this to about probably 66 pounds, and just take that let off, should I say, up just a little bit in the bow. So again, but for most of you guys, 99% of the people walking the planet, they're going to shoot this bow or anything that has this turbo cam and a half, whether it be this or whether it be the new Nitrum. You're going to shoot this, and I'm sure you're going to be absolutely in love with it. I'm in love with it. I don't want to say it's a bad thing. I don't want anybody to think it's a bad thing. I just prefer a little bit less valley, I guess you could say. But fantastic. Anyway, does exactly what it's supposed to do.